Today on the channel, Jakks Classic Superstars Series 22. Welcome everyone, Kyle here, back again on the channel, and today we're taking a look at Jakks Classic Superstars Series 22. If this is your first time to the channel, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to like the video, all that fun stuff. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this Classic Superstars videos. I think a lot of us are. If you've missed any of them, go back. We started at Series 1, we're up to Series 22. As I said, we got a long way to go still, but we've got quite a few videos under our belt at this point. Classic 22, kind of down to the end. You know, there's just a few more sets left in the single run series. But as you guys know, we still got the limited editions, the box set figures, the ringside exclusives, the 2-packs, the 3-packs, the deluxe classics, the belt packs. There's a lot of Classic Superstars talk still to come. Going to carry us well into mid-2021, I would imagine. But Series 22, another good set, and I believe, don't 100% quote me on this, but this is the last big single series set. There's 8? No, I'm wrong. I take that back. There's only 8 in this set. I think we have 11 in a set coming up pretty soon. That's the last big one. But 8 is kind of how it ended at the end. You know, with about 8 was about average as far as how many figures were in a set. Outside of that big 11 set one we got coming up in a series or two. But we'll get to that when we get to that. But Series 22, another set I don't really remember a whole lot of seeing out at retail. You guys tell me in the comments if you remember seeing that. I really don't. I do remember getting Chainsaw Charlie at retail, but I cannot remember where. I'm assuming it was probably Toys R Us, as that was your best bet to get these Classic Superstars back during this time frame, especially, as Walmart Targets were really inconsistent. Kmart's were okay. That's one we haven't really talked about a lot. Kmart's were pretty solid as far as the Classic Superstars. They seem to have had a really great relationship with Jakks Pacific, them and Kmart, because WWE figures they got lots of exclusives, and about every single line was represented at Kmart. So I should mention that. I bet you these are at Kmart. I didn't really go to a lot of Kmart's in the Classic Superstars days for some reason. There was about 3 or 4 Kmart's in my area, but I was a Target, Walmart, Toys R Us guy, and I usually could get everything I needed. I don't know why I didn't go to the Kmart's, but there you have it. So let's dive in, and I want to go off first off with my favorite one, Chainsaw Charlie. You guys know by now I absolutely love Terry Funk. He is one of, if not my all-time favorite wrestler. So anytime I can get a Terry Funk in any incarnation, I'm all in on that one, and that's what I am with this Chainsaw Charlie. A deep cut for Terry Funk's career, that is for sure. During the Attitude Era, him and Mankind against the New Age Outlaws. You know, the worst kept secret in the world is Terry Funk as Chainsaw Charlie with just pantyhose over his head. But let's take a look at the package first. So, typical Classic Superstars packaging, of course. Got the overalls, the red overalls, suspenders, and the blue jeans. And like I said, the pantyhose over Terry Funk's head, and a chainsaw, which is always a cool accessory, and an accessory that is very fitting with this moniker of Terry Funk. We did see a lot of reuse in the Terry Funk. Speaking of Kmart, this figure got a lot of reuse in the Terry Funk 2-pack with Mick Foley, the hardcore 2-pack. Not technically Classic Superstars, but I count that in my collection, and we'll get to that down the road in the exclusive figures. But there's Terry there. Got the glamour shot. Now, they should have put the pantyhose on the glamour shot. I don't know why they didn't do that, but it is what it is at this point. Chainsaw Charlie on the side. Of course, 22 at the top in the blue. And there's the back glamour shot there. Terry Funk just looking to the sky, looking to what tree is he going to cut down, or who is he going to cut down with that chainsaw? Nobody knows. But let's read the back here, and let's look at the prototype too. Prototype does not show the pantyhose. That was a later, last-minute addition, which is cool. I think it's a cool piece. I love that you can see his face through there. We'll show that a bit more. Nothing else different, though. That's Terry Funk. This looks like straight Terry Funk off the farm without the pantyhose, like he's working with some cattle or something. Let's see. Chainsaw Charlie. Weight 247 pounds, 6'1". Finishing move, the pile driver and the sleeper hold. Titles, ECW Champion, NWA Champion, and World Tag Team Champion. So there's Terry right there. Absolutely love this figure. And I do have a loose one of this, as I told you. I had to get this back in the day. A loose Terry Funk. Chainsaw Charlie, whatever you want to call him. It does look like the sneakers aren't as red in the shoelaces as the prototype. That's pretty nitpicky. I don't know if that really matters to anybody. But I do love this. I need to look for an aftermarket chainsaw for this. This is a cheap plastic chainsaw accessory. I'd like to get like a real cool looking chainsaw. There's got to be a Leatherface figure out there I could probably snag one from. I need to look into that because I want to take this Chainsaw Charlie to the next level. This is also one I would love to see Mattel take a stab at. You know, we got Desperado, Terry Funk. We got Terry Funk ECW in the Mattel Elite line, but we haven't got Chainsaw Charlie. I think it's one that a lot of us would love to get. I think they could do some cool stuff with that for Mattel. So hopefully here in the next couple of years, months, I don't know, hopefully soon, we'll put it at that, we can get a Chainsaw Charlie. So there you go, one of my favorites in the line of Series 22, Chainsaw Charlie. Let's take a look at the next one. Alright, next up in Series 22, we have one of my all-time favorite figures in the Classic Superstars lineup. And you're probably saying, what the heck, why would this be one of your favorites? And I'll explain a little bit. Andy Kaufman, the famed comedian, known for his feud with Jerry Lawler in Memphis, but also known for his movies and TV appearances. Andy Kaufman was something else, especially back in the early 80s. Just way ahead of his time. Probably my favorite comedian. And the funny story about that is, I was a huge fan of Taxi on Nick at Night back in the day. Obviously, we're showing reruns and stuff, and he was a member of Taxi. I loved watching Taxi. I thought Latka, who he played, was hilarious as a kid. I just loved that show. If you've never seen Taxi, go out there and watch Taxi. But I loved it. And then I was looking one day, and I found a VHS tape at one of the old movie stores back in the day, and it was basically the history of Jerry Lawler and Andy Kaufman. I think that came out maybe 90, 91. I forget what the tape was. But I rented it, and I watched it so many times, and I thought it was the greatest thing ever. I mean, it took... Andy Kaufman was kind of like Bobby Heenan turned up to 1,000, really riling up that Memphis crowd. For you guys, long-time viewers of Memphis wrestling, you guys know Memphis fans are another level, very similar to ECW fans. They love the blood, they love the guts, but they suspend disbelief, they do stuff. But this is so real. It was on David Letterman with Jerry Lawler slapping Andy Kaufman. Made national news for a while. It was a big, big deal. Andy Kaufman wrestled. He was the intergender wrestling champion of the world. Just a whole arc. If you don't know anything about that, I'm sure there's a million clips or probably that videotapes on YouTube. Definitely check that out because it was so ahead of its time. It was so fun. I remember him doing the vignette about trying to spell soap. It's not SOAP, it's soap. I mean, trying to tell the Memphis fans how to, better hygiene and stuff like that. It was just comedic gold. I loved everything about it, and I was so happy we got a figure of Andy Kaufman in the Classic Superstars line. Maybe a head scratcher to some people out there, but not me. Definite fitting figure. We also got a 2-pack down the line, which we'll show and talk about with Jerry Lawler, which is a slam dunk, one of the best 2-packs as well. Just an awesome, awesome figure here, and it's really a classic time of Classic Superstars, what this line entails. So perfect figure for this. Also, Jeremy Padower, the head man at Jakks, the one that brought us the Jakks Classics, he was from that area, so grew up dealing with this. So there's a special part of him, and I don't know without Jeremy if we would have ever got this figure. I'm not sure how hard it was to wrangle Andy Kaufman's people to get rights to do him and stuff, but boy, if we could get a Mattel, I know that would be a deep cut. I don't really see that happening. Maybe a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. I don't even know if that. This is just a perfect time, perfect era, and the stars aligned to get us this figure. So a very cool figure, and the detail is unmatched on this one. Looks just like him. The robe is an amazing fit on here, and then he even comes with the stretcher. No fun stories about that stretcher. If you guys saw the angle with Lawler, he was stretchered out a few times, I believe. Jimmy Hart was his manager, helping him with stuff. Then they feuded. Just go back and watch any of that stuff. It is great. Some of my favorite stuff ever. But there he is. I mean, they are spot on with the likeness on this Andy Kaufman. It is amazing. I mean, there was true labor of love done in this one. Just an awesome figure that has climbed in value the last few years. They even got the detail down to his unibrow. So just an amazing, amazing figure. There he is on the side. Underneath, he's got kind of like the Superman type jumpsuit, kind of just plain white. If you guys saw him wrestle, you know what I'm talking about. There he is on the side there. And then, of course, the old glamour shot. So the glamour shot does not show the robe. The robe must have been a last-second addition. That's what he looks like with the robe off. He also has the neck brace on. Just a very, very cool figure. I absolutely love this one. Not a lot of detail on the back, though. Weight, 175 pounds, 5'10". That's all you get. Nothing else. But just awesome. Yep, looks just like the Different hands were used, a lot smaller hands on the prototype. It's got like little hands. Very strange. I don't know, like a Mark Henry Elite, if you guys watched my video recently. But I, of course, have this one loose. This is a no-brainer. I had to have loose in my collection to display with Jerry Lawler. There it is. Just awesome. I can just hear him talking. I can't love this figure enough. I want to say Chainsaw Charlie Terry Funk's my favorite in this set. I think I lied. This is the top one of the set, just for what it represents, the off-the-wallness of it all, and this is part of why we love Jakks so much. They were not scared to take chances on things, and this was one they were not scared to take chances on, that is for sure. Mattel, get me an Andy Kaufman. I would absolutely love it. But very cool. Down to the robe, everything is awesome in this figure. So there you go. Andy Kaufman, Series 22. All right, next up in Series 22, we got Bob Sparkplug Holly. Most people know him as Hardcore Holly at this point, but this is another deep cut in the Classics line that we love. They were doing stuff that, nobody else was doing, and Mattel does not do this. We have never got a Sparkplug Bob Holly. Not that this incarnation of Bob Holly has been forgotten. It's just not remembered as much as his hardcore persona. But it's a cool moment in time piece, and we'd love to see Mattel do one of these, as I feel Mattel is missing a big part of this era of WWE in their Elite line. So I'm glad we have this. I do have a loose one we'll show here in a second. I do display this with my Elites until we get one, a proper Mattel, which I don't know if that'll happen or not. We'll see. But there he is, Bob Sparkplug Holly, race car driving. Now, one little nitpick, I don't know if it bothers me a ton, but he does come with the hardcore title. As we all know, this incarnation of Bob Holly predates the hardcore title, so it doesn't really make a lot of sense. But we all know Jakks didn't always make the most sense with their accessories. I also hate these title belts because they're really hard to determine what they are. You really got to look at them and try to read them. There's just no paint and stuff. We'll talk about it, but the Deluxe Classic belts are the best belts that have ever came with figures. Those are painted and beautiful. I think those are better than Mattel's. I know they're better than Mattel's to this day. So there you go. There's Bob Holly. Got the racing kind of checker down there on the legs, the red singlet, the long mullet. Just peak early Bob Holly. Just ready to get. This should came with a bonus race car. A Build-A-Figure race car for Bob Holly. That's what we need. There he is on the back. Let's see what it says about old Sparky Plug. Bob Sparkplug Holly, 235 pounds, 6 feet tall. Finishing move, the Alabama Slam. Title, World Tag Team Champion and Hardcore Champion. Straight on from the prototype, no real different. Knee pads are a little different, but that's about it. Nothing else too exciting, but once again, a figure that is kind of forgotten. Not first thought of a lot of people when they think Bob Holly, but I do feel this would be one that would be really cool to get in a Mattel one of these days. Here's old Bob Holly right here. He's got number 15 on his tights. There it is. I've said it before. I don't think I've said it in this video, but I have went back and I did have a lot of these. I've been getting loose Classic Superstars for guys that have not been made by Mattel that I can mix in with my Elites. There's a little smoke and mirrors and heights, and you can do some things with some risers to make them fit in with your Elites, and that's what I do. If Mattel comes out with a Bob Holly like this, I will pull this. I'll put this over with my Jakks loose figures, and I'll put that Bob Holly in. So that's kind of the rule I have for Jakks Classics, because there's so many figures, the Crushes of the world, the Bad News Browns, the Brooklyn Brawlers, that we truly need Mattel Elites of, that just for whatever reason we haven't and we probably won't get. So there you go, Series 22, Bob Holly. Let's take a look at the next one. All right, guys, next up, we've got Matt Hardy in Series 22. And we talked a little bit last video, Series 21, obviously, for those counting at home. We had Jeff Hardy in Series 21, and I remember saying at the time I was worried that they weren't in the same set. I thought, oh no, here's another Road Warriors situation. We're not going to get the matching Matt Hardy. Thankfully, they made and corrected that error and got him right away in Series 22. Really helps. I don't know if it's an OCD thing or what you'd want to call it, but it just makes sense. You guys tell me in the comments, do you like it when lines put the tag team in the same set, or would you like them in different sets? I don't know why you wouldn't want them in the same sets unless it's just trying to break things up. I don't know, but Jakks did that a lot. They put them in separate sets. Found that strange. I didn't like that. Mattel seems to do the opposite way. We got the Viking Raiders, we got Heavy Machinery, we got the Street Profits. We get guys in the same sets, and that makes more sense to me. But maybe that's a way to make Jakks say, hey, you guys stick around, see what's coming, stay with the line, keep it going. You got to make that match instead of getting done immediately. I don't know the thought process behind that. I could be thinking into it way too deep as well. But cool to get Matt Hardy. Once again, just like Jeff, Series 21. Didn't really feel this was classic enough at the time, but totally classic now. Early incarnation of the Hardys. Cool figures with the hair down. The Bret Hart Elite look, we'll call it these days. But didn't feel classic at the time, but totally classic now. Absolutely love these. They fit in. That is the beauty of the Class Superstars line. What wasn't classic 15 years ago is totally classic now. This is a reason this line will last forever, and I have a strong feeling we're going to see a new Classic Superstars line maybe announced in 2021. I bet you anything. I'll bet you $1 million. $1 million. Who wants to take the bet? But Matt Hardy, let's take a look. There he is. Like I said, very, very cool. Comes with a table, which makes sense with the Hardys. You know, they went through a lot of tables in their days. So the old glamour shot on the side. Got the old name on the other side. There it is right there. Let's see if the back, the prototype, does it all match up? All matches up to me. Looks fine. Just a solid figure. You know, a typical Hardy's body, but I love this head with the hair and the mean mug going on. A very, very cool figure. Matt Hardy, 225 pounds, 6'2". Is he really 6'2"? I don't know. He seems like he maybe more around 6 feet. I don't know. Who knows? Finishing move, the Twist of Fate. Titles, United States Champion, World Tag Team Champion, European Champion, Cruiserweight Champion, and Hardcore Champion. So Matt Hardy's gotten around. He's had quite the career. Very cool that this came in. I'm very happy this came out in this set. I'm glad we got it right away in the next set, Series 22. I would have been even more crazed if, you know, we had Jeff in 21 and this came out in Series 27 or something. I'd be like, what are they doing? What are they doing? But they righted it right away, got it in Series 22. So there you go. There is Mr. Matt Hardy in the Class Superstars line, completing that Hardy Boys set. Let's see who we got coming up next. All right, next up in Series 22, we have the LJN-inspired figure of the line, and that is Eddie Guerrero. Very fitting, as this is the week of his death, 15 years ago or something? Very crazy that it's been that long. But we got the LJN-inspired Eddie Guerrero in this set. And as you guys know, with these LJN-inspired, they're figures that didn't have an LJN back in the day, more current roster members, different packaging kind of sets it out, one per case. I've said it before, wasn't a big fan of these. I am working on buying all these loose to have in my rubber wrestler section of my display. So playing the long game, picking these up as I see them. But I never liked these. I always felt it was a waste of a spot in the Class Superstars line. I would have rather had a deep cut of a regular figure. Release these as a separate sub-series, make them a Ringside Collectibles exclusive or an online exclusive, or make just one set of these. Do a Classic Superstars Series A and make one set of all these together, or two sets of these together. Do it that way. I would have much preferred that than these, like I said, taking up a spot. But no change in history. Haven't got the time machine to go back and fix that, but I'll keep working on it. But here's Eddie Guerrero. Not a terrible figure. Like some LJNs, you guys know that have LJNs, some are really playable, some aren't. This is one you really can't play with. There's really not a lot this figure could do if you're trying to play with these. And I'm not sure how many kids were actually buying these or playing with these as a whole, but there's really nothing you can do with this Eddie Guerrero figure. He's got a cool pose, but you really can't throw a fist or do a whole lot of moves in that position. So there you go, there's Eddie. Like we said, we got the blue packaging, which was fairly uniform outside of that first Stone Cold, which we talked about in the first series, I think 14 maybe. Eddie on the side. There you go. Same as the prototype, no difference in these big rubber ones. Let's see what it says here. Eddie Guerrero, 220 pounds, 5'8". Finishing move, the lasso from El Paso, and the frog splash, of course. Titles, WWE Champion, Intercontinental Champion, WWE Tag Team Champion, and the United States Champion. So, is he deserving to be in this LJN-inspired one? 100%. I'm glad they used him as one of them, I guess, if we're going to have anybody. But not a huge one for me. Probably my least favorite in Series 22, to be honest, as most of these LJN-inspired ones are. But there it is. It is what it is. That's Eddie Guerrero. Let's see some heavy hitters up next. All right, I told you we had a heavy hitter up next, and I wasn't joking. We got Earthquake, one of the heaviest wrestlers of the mid-'80s, late 80s, and one of the ones I remember the fondest, I guess. You know, King Kong Bundy, stuff like that I was really, really young for, but Earthquake was involved in my prime wrestling years as a child. I was a big fan of Earthquake, and he was, when I think big wrestlers, obviously I think of Yokozuna, and Earthquake's probably right up there at maybe number 2 for me. Huge run in the WWE, WWF back in the day. I remember him killing Jake Snake. I'll never forget the push-up challenge with Dino Bravo and the Ultimate Warrior where we were introduced to him. Remember him crushing Hulk Hogan. I believe it was on the Brother Love show, if my memory serves me right. His tag team with Typhoon is the Natural Disasters with Jimmy Hart, their face turn. A lot of Earthquake memories over the years. So Earthquake definitely deserves to be in this line 100%. They did use the big Earthquake, or the big body mold, kind of the King Kong Bundy Yokozuna mold. I don't know about that. That I feel like it's too big. There's just something proportionately not correct for me. He needs to be a big guy. It doesn't need that Kamala big Bam Bam Bigelow body. It needs to be a little bit bigger, but not this big. I think I've said it in other videos. I'm sure I have. They needed another body style right in between that Kamala Bam Bam and Yokozuna, and that's where Earthquake would have fit very well into, if you ask me. But very cool cloth singlet on this one, and an amazing head scan. I mean, that looks like Earthquake John Tenta. Just amazing looking at that. Comes with the tag team title belt, I believe that's the tag team. Yep, tag team title belt, which does fit. He was a tag team champion. However, he did not have it in this singlet, I don't believe. He was a Natural Disaster. This is more single run Earthquake. But very cool. That blue pops. Like I said, amazing head sculpt on him. Just awesome. Earthquake on the side. There he is. Just looks too big, though. Just looks way too big. There's the back. Let's see what we, on the prototype, pretty much looks the same. I mean, gosh, it's too big. It's close, but it's too big. Great tattoo work. They got that tiger tattoo he always was known for on his arm. Weight, 462 pounds, 6'7". Finishing move, the Earthquake Squash. Titles, WWE Tag Team Champion. One of the most fondly remembered wrestlers of the late 80s, I would say. Even into the early 90s. You ask a lot of fans from that time, they'll definitely know who you're talking about when you mention Earthquake. So, there you have it. There's Earthquake. One of the best head scans, I think. I just love that head scan. I love everything about this, but he's just too big. Too big. It is what it is. No change in history. Let's see who we have next. Alright guys, next up is a character that there was no shyness in making figures for in the Jakks form, especially the Bone Cruncher days. I mean, this was Mr. Bone Crunching action. That's Stone Cold Steve Austin. We've got a Stone Cold about every single set back in the Bone Cruncher days. And then Ruthless Aggression, we got them peppered in here and there. Austin kind of retired, went away, had issues. Didn't get a ton of them. We got maybe a handful in the Ruthless Aggression lineup. The Classic Superstars lineup, we also got a handful. We got a Deluxe Classic, a couple Deluxe Classics, a couple Tag Team sets, and then a few single releases. So here is Stone Cold. This is, if you were going to say it, this wasn't a thing back then, but ultimate Stone Cold. That's what this would be to me for this time period. And this is still, to this day, one of the best Stone Cold figures ever. I'm taking Mattel into consideration there as well. And I do have a loose one of this one we'll show. But I'm blown away at how good of a figure this one really is. And this is probably the most popular figure in Series 22, just based on Stone Cold's popularity around this time. It was probably maybe the most wanted figure by the general public, I would have to say. I don't know if there's any argument there. But there he is. Comes with, what title is that? World title. Smoking Gun title? Or Smoking Skull title? Yeah, it is. Like I said, these are so hard. You got to really look at these Jakks titles with zero paint on them. You got to really look to make sure and see what they are. But there he is there. Does he come with... I was thinking he came with a beer can, but that must be a different one. Comes with the beer can. But comes with the black vest, of course, which I'm sure if I open this up, it would be a sticky mess. This would be just horrible. I'm so interested. Let's just open this up right now. No, I'm kidding. I'm not opening it. I have a few loose ones, but I got to keep my mint on card set of classics. I'd be a crazy person to open that up. Let's read the back here. Weight, 255 pounds, 6'2". Finishing move, the Stone Cold Stunner. Who would have thought? Titles, WWE Champion, WWE Intercontinental Champion, Royal Rumble Champion, King of the Ring, United States Champion, World Tag Team Champion, WCW Tag Team Champion. I mean, they could go on from there. There's more in WCW. United States Champion and so forth. I think even maybe TV. But then there's the back of the packaging there. So an awesome, awesome figure, like I said. Now, the one gripe I have with this, going back, I don't stare at these figures every single day. I don't take them off the wall every single day. Just for this video series we're doing, I've taken them off the wall. I've had these on display now for, I want to say, 9 or 10 years. And as I set these videos up and get them ready to go, I do give them a little dusting, a little nice dusting. I strongly recommend this plastic cleaner. That's what I use. Just a little spray on a paper towel and away you go. But a lot of people always ask me, don't these get super dusty, don't they? They don't. My basement is very climate controlled, state-of-the-art climate control system down here. HVAC's all about it. I have a newish house. I guess it's not brand new, but it's much newer than a house that was built in the 40s or 50s. But I've been cleaning these up, and there is going to be dust. I mean, after 9 years on the wall, there's going to be some dust, but nothing crazy. But got them all cleaned up, so hey, I said, every 10 years I'm going to give them a nice thorough dusting. So there you go. But when I was getting to that, I looked at the Stone Cold. He's got some cloudiness on the plastic here, and that goes back to how these were in box. I mean, they were cased in like this, side to side. Sometimes there'd be that paper, filament paper or whatever between these in the case, but sometimes there wouldn't be, and that plastic would get rubbed as it get jostled in the rubbing against the other one, and I got a little bit of a cloudy dust. I mean, this is the worst one I have in my whole collection that I've seen. I don't remember it being like this, and I don't even know if the camera can really pick it up, but does it look a little cloudy around his face? It's kind of hard to see. I need to take a look. I know I've heard people do it before. I've never run into a chance to use it, but there's a cleaner out there. I'm a Jeep guy. I own many Jeeps. I've owned many Jeeps in my life. I'm just a hardcore Jeep guy. But plastic windows on Jeep Wranglers, which I have one, there's this plastic cleaner spray that for the fogginess in the windows that kind of cleans that up. I've heard that stuff works for this. I actually have some in my garage. I might have to pull it out and see if I can clear up. It's not terrible, but if you look at it real close, it does annoy me a little bit. So there you have it with there. But like I said, just an amazing figure, this Stone Cold. I got a little wordy on the cleaning, but here it is loose. Holy cow, is that awesome. Absolutely love this figure. Absolutely love it. And the title belt, I wish it was colored in, but beggars can't be choosers. Can't win them all, as they say. But there you go. There's Stone Cold. We got one left. Who is the yin to Stone Cold's yang? Find out on the next one here. Alright everybody, the last figure, like I said, the yin and the yang, you had to have Mr. McMahon, Vince McMahon in the Classic Superstars series. We did get the announcer Vince in the series as well, but this one was a game changer, and I still think to this day, this one holds up as the best in-ring gear Vince McMahon figure. Mattel had a really good one. I want to say it was the Network Spotlight series. I think it was a TRU maybe exclusive. Way back when, it came with the black shirt from his Royal Rumble win. But something about this figure I always thought was just awesome. Love this figure from the get-go. Didn't super feel classic at the time, but it's one of those ones you think in the future it will, and this just totally fits in the Classic Superstars line. Is probably the greatest heel of all time would be Vince McMahon. I don't know if there's he's got to be at the top of the list for everybody, you would have to think. But love this figure. Love that it came in the same set as Stone Cold. Face scan, head scan on this is awesome. Comes with the microphone, which I guess is fitting. He did talk a whole lot, so there you go. Glamour shot on the side. There's the old Mr. McMahon. And the back of the packaging, of course. Let's see if there's any differences. I don't think there really was. The biggest difference in this figure from the prototype is he had a lot darker hair in the prototype, as you can see. Basically jet black, where they graded up. I do prefer this one. I think it makes more sense being a little gray with a little black, almost the Jay Leno style, almost on this one. I do have this one loose, like I said. I have a lot of these. This was a no-brainer to have loose. Just an awesome figure. Just awesome. I highly recommend getting this Vince if you don't have a Vince in your collection. And like I said, I do find this to be better than the Mattel Elite Vince even. There's also a suited version of this in the traditional Ruthless Aggression line, so you can kind of have your yin and your yang of Vince. You can have him in a suit and without a suit. And then we talked about there's an announcer Vince, old school announcer that Mattel recently did in the last year of Vince in the Mattel Elite line. So some Vince representation out there. I think there's some more Vinces. I would love to see a throwback LJN version by Mattel in the red coat. I just think that would speak to a lot of, if they were doing the chase, would have been perfect. Make a one in blue, one in red coat back in that one series. But yeah, they didn't do it. It is what it is. But there you have it. That's the end of Jakks Classic Superstars Series 22. I hope you guys are enjoying these videos. Leave me a comment. Tell me your thoughts on 22. Which ones do you have? Which ones did you pass on? Do you remember this one at the stores? Like I said, I don't really remember a whole lot. I do know I picked up that second Chainsaw Charlie at the stores, though, back in the day. So you guys let me know there. And always, you're already here. Like the video. Don't forget that. Like and share. You know, feel free to share these on social media. I think there's a lot of people that would like these deep dives and kind of some history. Maybe you were in the thick of it like me in the Classic Superstars. Maybe it passed you by and you weren't collecting at the time. Maybe you're a young collector coming back, trying to figure out and learn as much as you can about the history of wrestling figures. Well, here it is for the Classic Superstars. I think once we're all done, this will be quite the definite list. And I don't know if anybody else has even attempted to do something like this. So you were a part of history, folks. Breaking ground, breaking history, doing it all. So that's it. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm Kyle. Vince McMahon's going to finish it off with me. We'll see you next week for Jakks Classic Superstars Series 23.